Welcome to the Money Pig Podcast, presented by Goodwin Investment Advisory, where our mission is to lead you to financial pig, peace, independence, and generosity. I'm your host, Tim Goodwin. All right, welcome back to the Money Pig Podcast. I am super excited to have the one, the only, Grace Faraja Nakutu Bantu. Did I say it right, Grace?
You tried.
Faraja Nakutu Bantu. No? How do I say
Faraja Kunta Bantu. N is silent.
Oh, don't say the N.
Yes.
Oh, Kunta Bantu. After all this time, we come. Tim Goodwin didn't know. So Grace and I are good friends. She is the founder and CEO of the African Girls Hope Foundation, something near and dear to my heart, which empowers girls across sub-Africa through education. Grace has a PhD in human and social services. She shared her message globally from the United Nations to the Center for Justice in Toronto. A humanitarian, educator, and mother of 4 daughters, Grace inspires hope through action and compassion. So we're happy to have you today, Grace.
Thank you so much for having me.
Grace, you and I go way back. You used to work for a nonprofit where my dad and my wife were on the board there. So that's where they met you. You're running this nonprofit nights and weekends somehow with this full-time job. You have a fundraising gala and you invite my parents and Maureen and I come as well. And that's where I got to meet you, was at that gala. And that was a couple years ago now, huh?
Yeah, 5 years ago.
5 years ago, gala's coming up. And so that's exciting. And we got to go with you and your husband, Dennis, to Nairobi, Kenya last year. It was about a year ago.
A year ago.
Yeah, about a year ago now. So never been to Africa and got to go to Nairobi, Kenya with you for the first time. That was a life-changing trip.
Absolutely.
That was so awesome. So before we kind of dive in a little bit more about you and the work of African Girls Hope Foundation, tell the audience a little something about you that they don't know.
Well, I speak 6 languages.
That's right. Yeah.
But again, loving, advocating for girls started in my own house.
That's right. Because this is a full circle thing for you.
It's a full circle.
Yeah, you are literally paying it forward because somebody paid it forward for you.
Yeah, but again, it was about my uncle who really was so mad about my cousin who got pregnant, and the way he was talking to her, I was hurting myself. I was in pain, and I didn't like it at all as a younger girl. And I told him, Uncle, I'll have girls. Will you hate my girls?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Jeez. Yeah. So how old was your cousin when she got pregnant?
She was in high school.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Way too early for that.
Yes.
So, oh my goodness. Well, that's very serious, and I'm going to say a dad joke, and I'm just going to go ahead and let that out of the bag because it's part of like what I love to do. But we went to Africa. I went to Africa with you, right? And there they use a lift, and here we use an elevator.
Yes.
I guess we're just raised differently.
Absolutely.
I'm so mad. Raised, elevators here, lifts in Africa. Okay, all right, distasteful, I know, but I had to do it. So I was like, why are they called lifts? Oh, it lifts you. That makes a lot of sense. So, okay. So Grace, let's unpack a little bit more. Like that's really gets to the first question I have for you is what inspired you to do this, to start the African Girls Hope Foundation. So I think you were just sharing a little bit of your story. Like you're seeing your cousin get pregnant, your uncle's super upset about it. And then maybe tell the audience a little bit more about your story.
Yes. It's really about when I was 13 years old. The war broke down in my country, and our life.
This is DRC, Democratic Republic of Congo.
In DRC, when my tribe was really the focus of being forced to leave the country.
Right.
And from that time, from 1996, our life was ups and downs.
So you were forced to leave the country because people were coming to kill your tribe.
To kill us, yes. Yeah. Our ethnic group, which is Tutsis in Congo, they were targeted to be killed, and they were forced to leave the country.
Just can't even relate to that, most of us here that are probably listening to this. Yeah.
So when we were forced to leave, we started spending our lives in refugee camps together with my parents, and we lived in 4 different refugee camps before even we landed in Kenya. So experiencing that life, and my parents lost everything because we ran away with nothing in the middle of the night and started hiding for safety.
Gosh.
And there was no hope for me even to have education together with my siblings.
How old are you when you left the village right before the rebels came?
It was 13 years old.
You were 13.
Yeah, I was 13 years old.
So you hit 4 different refugee camps in the DRC before you even made it to Kenya?
Yes.
Okay. And so how old were you?
Actually, it was in Congo Brazzaville, in Rwanda, in Burundi, and then Kenya.
Okay. I gotcha. So how old were you by the time you made it to Kenya?
I was already around 19 years old.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes,
so you were actively moving from refugee camp from country to country for like 6 years.
Yes.
Whoa.
Yeah, because I had completed high school by the grace of God.
How did you do that?
Friends of my dad who helped him during the ministry, because my dad is a pastor. I'm like, PK.
Yeah, we got that in common. We're both PKs up top. Yeah, we just high five for folks listening at home, not watching.
So the faith, the hope that my parents continue to build in us, and the friends of my parents continue to pinch in and helping with our education, basic education, primary and high school.
Were you actually living in a refugee camp while you completed your high school?
Yes, we were. They kept helping us.
So you're like,
going on.
What does that look like? Is that like tense?
Very tense because of the insecurity. Sometimes we were told, well, you can't continue here. You have to move to another place.
Because it was full?
No, because they will hear rebels will come after you. Then you have to move to another place. And then you change the school again. I can't count how many schools I went to when I was in primary, high school. Different schools, totally.
It's hard to even recount the total number.
No.
Oh my gosh, that's wild.
And different languages too. That's where I got an opportunity to learn different languages.
So, let's walk through these 6 different languages then, right? So what are you speaking in the DRC?
We spoke French. That was our main language.
And Burundi is French as well.
Burundi is French and also have Kirundi.
Okay.
Yes. And in Rwanda, they have also Kinyarwanda and they speak also French.
Right.
But Rwanda is changing now to focusing on English.
Right.
Yeah.
Like Kenya.
Like Kenya.
Okay.
Yeah. And Swahili and Lingala.
Okay.
Yes. And Lingala is more spoken in DRC and Congo Brazzaville.
So those are the 4 kind of African languages.
The major.
And then you've got English and French on top of that.
Yes.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
And English is the 6th one.
It's the 6th one.
Yes.
That you learned?
I had to learn English in 2002 when I landed in Kenya.
Oh my
Literally, I just didn't know how to speak English.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Okay, you're 21 or 2 or something like that at that time.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. Okay, you're learning English. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, your English is fantastic. I don't think I realized that was the 6th language that you learned. Wow.
It was my last one.
Okay, so fast forward, you're 19, you're in Kenya, you finished your high school degree. You're still a refugee, but you guys, you kind of settle, right? Like in Nairobi or?
In Nairobi.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because we couldn't even go to the refugee camp in Nairobi because of the tension that was there already in the refugee camps between the tribes. So there was a very huge tension still going on even in the refugee camp because of the number of the crises that happened in the refugee camp. So some tribes were allowed to live in Nairobi as refugees. Yes.
Okay. Wow. Yeah. I mean, and being to Nairobi, I love it. It's a melting pot. They seem to be a safe, welcoming place for all peoples. It's just a great, it's like, must feel like an oasis in the whole continent of Africa. You know what I mean? For folks that are trying to escape, genocides and war. It's just so tragic. Okay. So let's fast forward then let's kind of refocus on the education side.
Yes.
So you're 19, you're in Nairobi. You did finish your high school, which is insane because we can't even, recount the number of schools because it was so many. But somehow you got to go to university.
Yeah.
And how did that happen?
Well, that's a magic and miracles. I would say for Christian that it was a miracle from heaven.
Come on, unpack that.
Yes. So when we got to Kenya, we were hopeless, and my dad was open, and he said, "You will go to school, but I have no money. I will not pay for your school fee because I don't have it. But I know for sure you will complete your education." But it was totally a dream. To say that I can even go to a good school, a Christian school, Destin University, which was, that time it was the second a good school in East Africa.
Yeah, we got to visit the campus when we were there to go see your old alma mater. So Daystar University is considered, one of the best universities. So you're saying, not just
but the grace of God, the church that embraced my dad to become a missionary in their church, a Kenyan church, Free Pentecostal Church, and they were able to help me start off to register me and have a letter. I remember when we were in Kenya together, my dad was explaining during the event how the church wrote a letter to Daystar University for them to accept me at the university, that they will try to help with the tuition, like a promised letter.
Right. And I think that's something for those listening, especially if you're, been an American your whole life like me, it was hard for me to understand that some of these schools in Africa are going to accept students even if they haven't paid yet on kind of a promise, and so that might be unusual to hear, because I think in the States, generally, you can't start classes unless you've paid in advance.
Exactly.
Right? And so in Africa, it's a little different. It's sort of like paying in arrears, or if there's a promise, there's a potential for revenue. Let's go ahead and fill the seats. And so that's what you're saying is you had the academic level to be accepted into Daystar University. When it came to payment, you actually showed up with a letter from your church that promises commitment that the church was going to do their best to raise your tuition, and so they let you start.
Yes.
Okay. Keep going.
That's how I started, but I didn't know what will happen next, because the church didn't have even enough money either, but just a promise letter that they will help. But once I got there, I plugged myself in the school activities.
Yeah,
and
you were singing
in the chorus group and leadership, and now everyone knew, there's a girl here who can sing, and the music teacher spotlighted me, and she said, you need to come to Afrizo. Afrizo was the name of the group in school that was part of the singing. So we used to lead worship, devotion. It was a Christian university. And that's when, before even something happened for my scholarship, the university dropped me out. They couldn't continue with me because...
How far was that you had been there? How long had you been there?
2 years.
2 years?
I was already 2 years there, but with a huge balance. Of promising that
a negative balance, to be clear. A deficit. Balance. Yeah, bright red.
Some of my friends in school that I was sharing the same classes, they used to have like a balance in their... positive balance in their account, and they would transfer to my account so that I'm able to come back.
Oh my gosh.
And it gives me emotion because I remember their names. One of them was Samuel. That he will do that secretly, not even telling me.
Or anybody.
No one. And then the accountant will call me. Oh, your friend transferred something, so you are able to come back to register for one class. And then the next thing was for when the balance was huge, Tim.
Can't imagine. Yeah.
The school said I was that girl that I was on the list of unpaid or incomplete tuition. That every time the accountant will come and will call names, and my name was always there.
Yeah.
And it was hard for me.
Yeah.
But again, going back home, my dad would always, and my mom, they always give me that hope, hope. You will continue. You will finish. You someone will pay for you.
Wow.
And here I am with my tears that this is my final notice, and I'm not even going to go back. They have dropped me out from
This is the 2-year mark.
2-year mark.
That's the balance
of waiting and waiting.
You're out. Yeah.
And my dad was like, the God I've served all these years has never changed. I know you will complete. But for me, that statement was not clicking in my
You're like, it's not
mind.
keeping me in school, Dad.
No.
But you have so much faith that God's going to come through, and he got me this far, but what now? Right?
Yeah, it wasn't. Until after a couple weeks when I was called back by the same music teacher who loved me so much. Her name is Helen, that you come to school, we have to sing before a special event. There's a special meetings here. we have visitors and they have requested me to lead worship devotion. I said, Helen, I'm not coming to school.
Yeah, so this is like your choral director,
Yes.
right, is saying like, hey, there's a performance, you need to come sing. And you're like, I got kicked out of school. I can't pay. I'm not in the chorus anymore because I'm not at school. But she's like, I don't care. You're a singer. You're coming back, right?
Yes.
We need you for this performance, right?
Yes.
I remember the story. Yeah,
And
keep going.
she came and picked me up from home and she told my
Dragged
friend,
you there.
yes, we are going. And we went. And she told me, you lead 2 songs. And then I will lead the rest. And then from the 2 songs, the visitors who are there that I've never met before, and I didn't even know where they came from until later. And these visitors who are very blessed to hear my voice. I don't even remember how I was singing. I can't remember, but they were blessed and they were asking questions to, who is this girl? Who is this girl? And they were told, I'm a refugee and I'm very active in school. I'm in the missions coordinator and I'm in the chorus. They listed all of these things. And unfortunately, we have dropped her. She's no longer part of the students. And they said, a kid who is smart, she's doing well with her grades and all that. She deserves a full scholarship.
Right.
And at that time, I wasn't there when they were making decisions until when our vice chancellor had called me later and said, we are sorry that we took advantage of you. That you have been given a scholarship to complete with your education.
That's
and
crazy.
They paid for all the balances that I had in school.
Wow, that couple did?
Yes.
Wow.
They did. They did pay. And that's how I completed my first bachelor's degree in accounting and economics. But it was a journey of hope.
Right.
A journey that I was just hopeless. And then I was given that hope to continue and I was able to finish. That's the term I said on my graduation day. I said, I will do the same to others. But I didn't know how I will do that until when I landed in this country in 2008 at the JFK airport, where a voice reminded me, you will do the same to others. That in 2009, when I got my first paycheck,
Yeah.
when I got my first paycheck, I totally sent my full paycheck to my parents. I said, Dad, Mom, please, this is for another girl who is desperate for education.
Like where you were.
Where I was.
Now, you skipped ahead a little bit. So you finished your undergrad, but you pursued your master's degree?
No, I did my master's here in this country.
Yeah, so you finish up at Daystar in Nairobi, in Kenya. You come to the States.
Yes.
As far as your education journey, you get your master's in what, business administration?
No, I did my master's in organizational management.
That's right, organizational management. And then you got your PhD.
Yes.
Okay. And then you have authored a book as well.
Yes.
Married with 4 girls.
Yes.
Running a nonprofit.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, just a total normal story, Grace. Total normal. Nobody has that story. That's incredible.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but I remember you sharing that story, though, when you had your first job, you sent your whole paycheck back to your dad, who's a pastor and planted churches in Nairobi, and said, Dad, we've got to start doing for the girls there that were like me and paying for their education. Because ultimately, like you said, it gives them hope because it breaks the cycle of poverty.
Absolutely.
Like nothing else, education,
Yes.
right? And, Maury and I have gotten involved or on the board, and we help you fundraise, and we're big supporters, big fans. Obviously, as I mentioned, traveled with you. And what I've learned too is, especially for a refugee, or we like our scholarship focuses on, I say our scholarship, it's Grace's scholarship, but we're such a part of it. I've taken ownership. And so when I say our, I'm talking about African Girls Hope Foundation, that scholarship. Really, if girls don't have that and they're orphans because they've lost their parents to genocide or the war, refugees, school in Africa is not free.
It is not free.
And it took me a while to really figure that out because you're just not used to that as an American. You have access to education here. You don't have access to it in Africa. In most places in the continent, school isn't free. And so there's tons of schools. They're just private schools. Sometimes the government's a little bit involved with some ownership, but there's not full free public schools.
No.
And so in order to go, somebody has to pay for private school.
Yeah.
And my parents are heavily involved in India, where the caste system is alive and strong, unfortunately, but there's still a little bit of that in Africa. Yeah. And so typically, I think I've heard when resources are limited, that the boy, the male, is prioritized over the woman.
Yes.
But over the girl. But then when you really think about, well, what about that girl's an orphan or a refugee? Her chances of being in a situation where somebody is paying for her education is very, very low.
Yes.
Is very, very low.
Very low.
And so, Grace, let's say that girl is an orphan, is a refugee, and nobody's paying for her to go to school. What does her future look like? What are her options?
There's not a good option for them other than just staying home and trying to help their mothers with selling stuff on the street or becoming a street girl. That's the worst that is happening.
That's the worst part. Yeah. The nicest way we might say that is that childhood marriage. Right?
Yes.
They could get married off at 12 or 13, but really that's just a nice way of saying that it's human trafficking, it's slavery, that kind of stuff.
And additionally, for those who are refugees, especially a good number of the kids who are refugees there in Kenya or other countries, they don't have many options like any other kids who are locally citizens. There's limits on what they can do.
And it's wild for me because I go to Nairobi and I can't really differentiate the faces.
Yes.
Everybody just looks like they're African or they're Kenyan to me. It would be hard for me to tell without you starting to point out.
Yes.
Well, because when we talk about our girls on our scholarship, we're representing 6 or so different nationalities, right? But you'd have to line them up and show me very specifically, I guess, in their faces how they're different. But you say the locals there know right away who's actually Kenyan and who's from a different nationality. So even though Kenyan is so welcoming and Nairobi is so welcoming, there is a bit of a caste system, not just based on male, female, but based on being refugee or Kenyan, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So the Kenyans are more likely to get the jobs first.
They will. And especially with the language barriers, because the refugees who are there, they speak their native language. And when they even try to speak Swahili, the Kenyan Swahili is totally different from Congo Swahili. So when I speak, they will know I am not originally from Congo, and they will know I'm not originally from Kenya, because our tonation, our Swahili in Congo
gives you away.
Yes,
whether your face does or not. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is incredible. So now you're full time working for African Girls Hope Foundation. We've got volunteers over here. We've got a board that's developed. You technically started it, I guess, when you sent the check to your dad. But when did African Girls Hope Foundation start as a 501c3 in the
did
US?
Establish in 2018, December of 2018. But we officially started sponsoring the kids in 2019.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So, by the end of this year, it would be, or it's 2025, it'd be 7 years. 7 years ago.
7 years, yes.
And so that's incredible. And then we have mentors that cover our girls that are on full scholarship. We've got roughly about 250 girls on full scholarship. There's about 100 in the DRC and the rest are in Kenya.
Yes.
Right? So we cover them with a full scholarship from kindergarten through 12th grade.
Yes.
When they get into high school, we actually consolidate them into boarding schools.
Absolutely.
Yep. And then we have mentors in the DRC and in Kenya. And I always love giving the mentors a big shout out because this isn't just us writing a check for tuition. This is, we like to call it full scholarship because we're covering their uniforms. They get backpacks. They get feminine products. They get the medical attention that they need. And then they have an adult that knows them and cares about them and is involved in their lives and is checking on them and making sure they're taken care of. I think I heard you told me that like if one of our girls on scholarship doesn't show up for class or is late, the mentor will be called like that
absolutely,
day.
Immediately.
And now we're starting to see where we went to one school where 30 of our girls are under scholarship. It's a big group there. They're a consortium. They're a cohort, all rooting each other on. And the school also knows that, hey, these girls under the AGHF scholarship get fully paid. So I think they get good attention. And so we love that. So we can fill in the gap here, but obviously for the listeners here and the watchers on YouTube, hey guys, that, when you get this education given to you in the form of a scholarship, an adult who cares, and you're part of a cohort that's rooting you on success, as far as getting good grades often follows. A lot of our girls are very strong academically because somebody's finally giving them hope and believing in them. And then we're now moving on into higher education, trying to figure out how to get them technical degrees. We have our
Bridge
first
College.
girl. Yeah, Bridge College is the technical degree. And then Daystar University, Beatrice.
Yes.
I know you're leaving in a couple days to go to Nairobi because Beatrice is graduating from Daystar University. And she is our first girl to start with a scholarship and go through all the way through to university. So we're going to have our first girl full circle, which is so exciting. I know she's graduating from your alma mater. So now the world is their oyster, right? They have that education, they can get that job, and they can break that cycle of poverty in their whole bloodline, really moving forward.
Yes.
So as we kind of wrap up here, if people are listening, they're like, man, Grace sounds amazing. It's because it's true. She's incredible. And let's say they want to learn a little bit more about African Girls Hope Foundation. How do they do that?
Yeah, to learn more about African Girls Hope Foundation, let me say this. First of all, we have our great team and partners. And I don't want to miss to say that team, because African Girls Hope Foundation, it wasn't going to be where it is if it wasn't for great partners, businesses, corporates, and churches and all that. And please allow me to give a shout out to Goodwin Investment. But before that, to you, Tim and Maureen.
Okay, we're just going to cut that from the record. We'll edit that out. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
It requires one person to hear the heart and the cry of the vision and to make it happen.
Right.
And you have been there.
Wow.
You have been that person.
I'm grateful.
So sincerely, on behalf of the girls and on behalf of our team in Africa, and myself, my husband, we are very grateful for the Goodwin Investment, and Tim and Maureen and the family for making, for changing the lives of hundreds of kids. 13 million of girls in Africa will never attend a classroom, but we are changing lives of one girl at a time.
That's right.
Together. But because of that, hearing a cry, deep cry, and you being there in Africa, and we are grateful that I don't have to cry myself. Now we cry together.
We cry together. Exactly right. Yeah.
Because we have seen, you have seen with your own eyes the kids, the children that we are changing our lives.
Yeah, I've met them and they're incredible, and we're so grateful for.
So for anyone to know more about African Girls Hope Foundation, we are welcome everyone to join us, to join our hands together with Goodwin Investment, and by checking our website, by empowering, by providing a scholarship to our girls.
That's right.
Because there are so many of girls who are on our waiting list, even the ones that we have.
Just 13 million. Just 13 million girls on the waiting list.
13 million, and going to all the African countries. But even the ones that we have, we would love to see all those 254 girls and plus to complete, even for college. Right. Yeah, and that's our hope. If everyone can join this great movement of changing the lives of girls and to a better generation and breaking the circle of poverty. The circle of poverty in Africa has been going on for generations. Right. But I know one girl like Beatrice, when she's graduating, completing, her mindset has changed. Yeah, she has a voice, and she understands when to say no and yes, and she thinks critically for her future. Yeah, and she has the voice to pursue her dreams. Come on. Yeah. Come on. I love it. Yeah. So, and I even remember you saying that Beatrice wants to volunteer and give back to AGHF, and it just keeps this beautiful circle going. And so, so if you want to learn more, go to AfricanGirlsHope.org. And please sign up for our blog. We've got over 1,000 blog subscribers. Valerie puts out a beautiful blog, very simple, very elegant, and relatively brief in terms of most newsletters out there. So please sign up for the blog. But like Grace said, and I feel like, a lot of life is like trying to get people to care about something that you care about, because we're all busy and we have a lot of opportunities. But when you really, like you said, I was there, quote unquote, heard the cries, met the girls, saw the need, and we were already giving. And then, so when you can make that real, then you come back and you're trying to be that voice telling everybody, hey, we can help save these girls from sex trafficking by giving them education and breaking the cycle of poverty. So it's $97 a month right now. Yes. And that provides a full scholarship. So
if you're thinking, well, like, wow, that's more than a child sponsorship organization like Compassion International or World Vision. Compassion International, huge fan right here, have been since I was little. But that's very different. They're not necessarily providing full education for those children. A lot of times it's supplemental programs through the church. That's like how Compassion's model is, which is great and wonderful. But the way the African Girls Hope Foundation works is providing a full scholarship, all books, all room and board, uniforms, the mentors.
Shoes,
and so,
everything.
so it adds up. It's still powerful that $97 US a month can provide all of that, everything that a girl needs in the DRC and Africa to get through her schooling for the year. So if you're interested in doing that, join me and Maureen and try to help cover some of those scholarships. And Grace, just super excited about our friendship. Very grateful for you and your family and your girls that we just love so much. And I'm grateful that we are going to go back to Kenya in the summer. We're going to take our girls with us. So that's going to be pretty cool.
I am taking some of my girls too.
Are you? Very cool. Very cool. We'll bring our families together. So grateful for you. And thank you for joining us today. And for the listeners out there, thanks for listening. And we'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for tuning in to the Money Pig Podcast. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. To stay updated on new episodes, be sure to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. If you found value in today's discussion, we'd greatly appreciate it if you could leave a rating and review. If you have any questions about the topics we covered, feel free to visit us at goodwininvestment.com and reach out. This episode is produced by evance.net. This podcast is provided for informational purposes only and should not be considered as investment advice, a solicitation to buy or sell any financial products, securities, digital assets, or other investment vehicles, nor as a basis for making any financial decisions. Goodwin Investment Advisory is a registered investment advisor with the SEC, CRD number 131193. Please note that the host and or guests may personally own securities, digital assets, or other investments mentioned in this podcast. Investments carry risk and are not guaranteed unless stated otherwise. We strongly recommend consulting with a qualified financial advisor, tax professional, insurance professional, and or legal professional before implementing any strategies discussed in this episode. Lastly, past performance is not indicative of future results.